What is up guys, Impact here, and I'm back for another post-patch video. Patch 3.14 introduced a lot of changes for the support role. More gold income, stronger champions, and some of them ended up being somewhat game-breaking. For that reason, Riot is now balancing some of the gold income that support players are getting, as well as a few support champions. But let's get to the chase. Annoying Fiddlesticks is annoying. A 3-second CC that's not even his ult? We can't have that. His Terrify duration has been reduced at later ranks. It will only last for 2.25 seconds now. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to be pretty damn annoying, just not as much. His Terrify is pretty much the main reason why people would pick him as a support though, so to balance things out, his ultimate, Crowstorm, now costs 100 mana at all ranks, which is a pretty significant buff. I don't really think you'll stop seeing Fiddlesticks, to be honest with you. His Q nerf is significant, but he still has a lot of push and poke potential with his E. He still has the CC utility with his Terrify, and the Crowstorm mana reduction allied to his Zhonya's Hourglass that you'll be able to get with your extra gold income can be rather devastating. Janna was also slightly buffed on her ult. It now costs 100 mana at all ranks, just like Fiddlesticks' Crowstorm. The thing about this change is that even though it's a welcome one, it doesn't really make Janna a lot more viable than she used to be, especially now that her AP ratios have gone down. But at least now you won't have to worry as much about your mana as time goes on, since your ultimate will cost a lot less. As for Lulu, well, as you may know, she's one of my main support champions. I love her kit and I love everything about her, except the nerf she got last patch, which pretty much ruined her. But that's beside the point, I guess. She's getting buffed again, hooray! Her passive's base damage has been increased at pretty much all ranks, so she'll be able to poke and harass a lot more efficiently during the laning phase. If you're a Lulu player, you'll pretty much love this change. She's an incredible poke-based champion, and it's a very welcome change. Her E, Help Picks, also got changed. Its shield strength was increased at early ranks, while its offensive usage still deals the same damage. My guess is that Riot is trying to make this skill more about the defensive usage instead of the offensive one, but you shouldn't forget that Help Pick still reveals enemies, so it can be really useful against the sorts of Twitch that tend to sneak away with stealth. Finally, Wild Growth mana costs have been reduced to 100 at all ranks from 150 at all ranks. And this is a welcome change as well. To be aggressive with Lulu, you'll find yourself low on mana rather often, so a lower mana cost on your ult will ultimately allow you to play more aggressively and to have your ultimate available more often. Riot has already stated that they have larger plans for Taric in the long term, but she's already getting some extra love this patch. Her base armor was increased to 13, and her base movement speed was increased to 340. Nope, not that much of a change, and probably not something that will drive players to choose her over Nami, Sona, or Taric, but still a step in the right direction. Taric was also one of those champions that just came out of the closet last patch. Heh, get it? Anyway. People started using him again last patch because he was so damn strong. For that reason, he's getting hit with a nerf hammer. His passive Gemcraft is now weaker. The armor scaling was reduced by 10%, which is pretty significant. Shatter was also changed. It will now give 12% of his armor to allied champions. The armor damage scaling was also reduced by 10%, the Shred base values were lowered, and the Shred armor scaling was also lowered by 5%. So what does this mean for our Gem Knight? I wouldn't say he's weak now, but he's definitely weaker, both during the laning phase and teamfights. These changes won't allow him to be so reckless in lane, and he won't be providing as much armor to teammates in teamfights either. I would say, however, that he's still pretty decent against full AD comps, and that he's still a decent alternative to Sona, Soraka or Nami, depending on the game itself. Now that we're done with the champion changes, let's talk about trinkets. Sweeping lands, greater lands, and oracle's lands cooldowns have been reduced, and this is my favorite change this patch actually. Supports need bush control, especially during the laning phase because they're the only ones in charge of that. Ultimately, this change will allow support players to actually have a better control of their lanes. The true sight duration of the oracle's lands was reduced by 2 seconds though, but I don't really think this change will be as impactful since you can actually use the active more often anyway. Scrying Orb, Greater Orb, and Farsight Orb were also changed. The enemy champions that are hit by these items will now be revealed for 5 seconds, but it will not affect stealth champions. The cast range was also increased for all of the orbs. Great change, welcome one of that, but it still doesn't provide an answer to how annoying stealth is right now. Still, a step in the right direction I believe, and I'm pretty sure more players and teams will start picking it up, and now that it actually reveals champions. And finally, there is one game flow change that affects support players. The assist gold rewards no longer scale up with game time. After the 30-minute mark, you get a lot more gold per assist, around 80% of the kill reward, but no longer. It will now grant 50% of the kill reward at all times. This may end up hurting the support's gold income during the late game, but I feel like it's a justifiable change and something that may make teams play for objectives even more than just for kills in teamfights. And that sums it up for this post-patch video. I feel like even with all of the nerfs this patch, it was still a step forward, and I'm excited especially for the trinket changes. Hope the video helps you guys out, and don't forget to check out the other post-patch videos as well. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to Machinima Versus, and if you're looking for some extra support info, feel free to check out my own YouTube channel, as I'm keeping it updated every single week. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and see you next patch.